My System Unleashed. Story by Paul Franco. Voiceover by Andrew from Microsoft Azure. Chapter 1. All hell breaks loose. In a dimly lit dive bar, fervent screams and shouting could be heard united in a chaotic symphony. Jayson, an unassuming young man, sat transfixed in a corner. It was no ordinary night, for on the colossal screen before him, the World Cup finale raged on between two titanic nations, Spain and Brazil. They battled not only for honor and passion, but also for the unspoken truth that drove them all: money. The scoreboard flashed, 7-5 in favor of Spain, setting the stage for an incredibly intense moment that would be recorded in the annals of history. Amidst the celebrations showcased by the Spain supporters and the moans of anxiety and anger steadily growing in the supporters of Brazil, a figure stood out. A young man in his early 20s sat in a corner, nervously hunched over the bar, his gaze darting restlessly between the slip of paper gripped in his left hand and the giant TV screen. Worry and anxiety were written all over his face. He had just placed a bet for the first time in his life, to clear the debt incurred for treatment for his ill mother, who was currently in the hospital suffering from a heart condition. His father had abandoned him and his mother when he was just 6 years old, so there was no one else to turn to for help financially. The looming debt from his mother's treatments were weighing down on him like a metric ton of bricks. At this event, Jayson had staked his life savings to win a bet, just to help his sick mother. The team he had wagered on to win were currently losing, his heart pounding hard against his ribs, feeling as if it were ready to burst from his chest. As Jayson was sitting there clearly losing his shit, he noticed the patrons started to exhibit abnormal behaviors as well as those on the screen. From the uneasiness of the players to the looks of confusion worn on the faces of the spectators. They seemed to be all staring in one direction: the sky. Judging from the looks on their faces, something strange was being displayed in the sky. Murmurs could be heard from everyone in the bar, some of them yelling, "What the hell is going on?" They were all confused. At this point, Jayson was getting the feeling of uneasiness. Something bad is going to happen, he thought. The scene just all felt ominous. The massive TV suddenly went black. The bar patrons were all gripped by a fierce force of shock for a few seconds, trying to realize what was going on. After a few moments, some really drunk patrons started to vent all their anger out on the bar staff. Suddenly, the light bulbs started bursting one by one, and the phone screens went off, and everyone was engulfed in darkness. The bar wasn't very big, hidden between huge buildings, and had little to no ventilation. The giant TV suddenly came on again, but what was being displayed on the massive screen was no longer the football game. What was displayed were some cryptic messages which no one seemed capable of comprehending. For a moment, the bar became utterly silent. The staff nor the patrons could put their fingers on what was happening. Then, loud booms could now be heard from multiple directions. These explosions could be heard all over the bar, accompanied by screams. These weren't the sounds of joy, anxiety, or anger any longer, but what could only be described in one word to unite all emotions: fear. The sounds of chaos, as if being played by the hands of the gods, caused the people to dance along to the rhythms. The scene was reminiscent of what would be seen in some horror or apocalyptic fantasy movie, where everyone could only act based on reaction and reflexes. Looking at the few people he could see within the distance of maybe 2 meters around him, this was the scene being played out. Jayson seemed paralyzed for some unknown reason, and no one seemed to notice him. He wore the look of confusion, which replaced the previous look of anxiety and worry. As he sat there frozen in place, something strange opened up within his field of view. Bright blue letters, or what could be more accurately described as messages, displayed in his retina.
Name: Jayson Sylvestri. Race: human. Title: unevolved. Level: 1. Strength: 9. Agility: 10. Health: 8. Stamina: 8. Speed: 9. Mana: 9. Class: none.
What appeared in his retina was a status window, like the ones he would see in just about any MMORPG he had ever played. This status window displayed his name, level, race, title, stats, B-souls, skills, and many other things. Jayson was alarmed and confused at seeing this. What the hell is this? Jayson stammered, unable to put together what was going on now. One moment they were watching a football match, and the next moment all hell broke loose. Slapping himself hard to try and jolt himself awake from his apparent stupor, the pain he felt on his cheeks drug him forcefully back to reality. Of course, no one was bothered by the noise that was being created by him smacking his own face due to all the commotion. Finally stabilizing himself a little, thoughts and emotions flashed through his head. He didn't know whether this was a blessing or a curse. Shit, he said through his gritted teeth as he thought about his ailing mom. I hope she survives this. If not, my existence has no purpose. He slowly started to calm his mind down, knowing he couldn't solve anything being frantic. Connecting the dots, from the explosions to the blue messages in his retina, he couldn't help but think about those isekai web novels and movies where people were blessed with supernatural powers or magic. He thought this must be how most of them started, imagining himself going against the laws of gravity and of the natural world without restrictions, using immense strength that could only be seen in fantasies, and seeing himself in his secret lair, watching over his city and being worshipped by the people as a hero. Jayson couldn't help but have a wry smile on his face as he mused to himself. Heh, who am I kidding? Things never turn out to be that easy. First, I need to get to Mom, who was in the neighboring city. As he stood up, he shifted his gaze to focus more on what was going on. Jayson noticed his senses suddenly heightened. He didn't know whether it was instincts that drew his attention or some bestowed upon danger sense. But he noticed a grotesque, almost hulking creature. It had slightly pale green skin and was in the shape of a human, and it was slowly approaching him. Is that a ghoul? This didn't seem shocking to him at this point, since everything seemed fucking insane at the moment. Just then another message displayed.
System message. An unknown force has awakened from the earth. This force is known as mana. Mana is the foundation for evolvers to grow stronger. But when a human can't withstand the mana, they grow mindless and mutate into ghouls.
Wait, evolvers? What the fuck is an evolver? Jayson thought, but as he was lost in thought, his danger sense seemed to kick in again. The creature was closing the gap on him. Since he was already in a corner to begin with, he had no choice but to take the initiative to attack first. As if, like the gods were smiling down on him, he spotted a bat that the bartender would use to give unruly drunkards the obligatory attitude adjustment. It was within his reach. He grabbed it and swung it aimlessly like a child trying to fight off some unseen fear. Fortunately, Jayson was a genius in the field of martial arts already, but he only ever fought against other humans. But this ghoul seemed way stronger than any human he'd ever fought. He just couldn't help but be overcome with fear. Noticing that the bat was not producing the desired outcome, he bit his lower lip and seethed through gritted teeth. I'm no coward. Heroes never back down, and I have a mother to take care of and pleasures to enjoy. If I don't fight now, I might die. He took a traditional fighting stance, positioning his left foot slightly forward with his toes facing his opponent, his right foot at the rear and at a slight angle from the left. Both knees were slightly bent, providing flexibility for movement and quick reactions. His left hand was held close to his face, elbow down close to his body to provide protection for his head, his right hand positioned close to his chin, ready to throw punches and defend. Although the position he took was a good one, it was definitely not the best against a ghoul, because from the little knowledge he got from movies and novels, a bite or mere scratch was enough to make him go mindless. My stance will only be slightly useful against punches. I'll have to take the initiative to attack if I'm going to have any type of chance, he thought. End of Chapter 1.